Hello everybody, this is Dr. Don Clum and I have a special live video I want to show you today. Today's topic is, how can I do everything right and still not lose the weight? How can I do everything I'm supposed to? How can I follow everything I've been told and still not lose the weight? Is this possible? Has anyone heard this before? I know I have, I know my patients have, I know people that contact me every day have. They've done everything they're told, even from a holistic side, even following our advice, and they still are not losing weight. They could be doing it all 100%, and at the end of a month, still be at the same weight or even gain some weight, and they want to know what's going on. This is a very important topic. There's a reason for this. And listen, the reason's not because you're cheating. The reason's not because you failed. The reason's not because you can't do it. The reason, all these reasons that your doctor might be giving you are not why this is going on. There is a reason, and I'm going to go through it right now. And so let's go right to it. Here's the chart. I turned the phone around, so it should all be facing the right way, and everyone should be happy at this point in time. So I hope it is. Here's the process. Step number one, it starts with the food that we eat. The food that we eat, there's a whole different kinds of combinations, have hormonal responses, and basically everything comes in and gets broken down through our stomach and ends up in our intestines. These are the intestines right there. It kind of looks like a snake. I'm not the best artist, I get it, but follow with me. All the food, everything you eat, before it gets to your body, goes through your intestines, and your intestines shoot it straight into your liver. Your liver is the guardian of all the nutrients for your blood. It doesn't go anywhere before it goes through the liver. Every single bit goes through the liver. Very important point. And so now you have all this food broken down into its different parts, and the one we're talking about right now is glucose, or blood sugar. Foods, carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, some proteins. When we get stressed, it produces sugars, and of course, sugars themselves, sweets, fruit sugar as in fructose, sugary drinks, different soft powders turn into glucose, such as, or can raise insulin, such as protein powder, such as almond flours, such as any kind of wheat or grain product. It all turns right to sugar, and it comes in and it goes through the liver. Now, that's a very important point. It goes into the liver, and the liver's got some options now. The liver has some pockets, so to speak. The liver can take some of that sugar and put it in its pockets, or it can let it out into the blood. Now, the liver, at a given point in time in a healthy person, only has about 5, maybe 6 grams of sugar in all of our blood. Yet, the average American meal has 75 grams of carbs. You can't push 75 grams of sugars into the blood at one time, or you could die. All right, it's very, very bad. So the liver's job is to process that. Digestion slows it down and lets it out in the time that it needs. All right, very, very important. So when there's a lot of sugars coming in, the liver has an option to put some of that sugar in its pockets or in the storage called glycogen. This is glycogen, is my representation of glycogen storage right there. But eventually, that storage, those pockets, fill up. And when that happens, the sugar keeps coming in, either from the meal or from the meal before or from the snack, depending on how you're eating, and it spills over into the muscles. Now, this pocket here of glycogen is for the body, in case we ever go a long time without eating, like when we sleep. This is why we don't die when we sleep. We don't starve overnight, because the liver can let out some sugar while we're sleeping, or if we skip a meal, or so on. The blood sugar then goes to the muscles, and the muscles has pockets. These pockets are for the muscles. Therefore, when we need them, like if we need to chase something down or run away, or when we exercise, or we're on our feet a long time, when the muscles need extra sugar or food, it uses the glycogen that's stored up in the muscle. So first stop here, second set of pockets are in the muscle, but if it keeps coming in and these pockets get full, then it spills over. Now it goes out to the cells. Each and every one of our cells can use glucose. It's not the ideal fuel, but it can use glucose. And it doesn't store glucose inside there because it uses what's called active diffusion, which means when there's the same amount of glucose inside or sugar inside the cell as there is outside the cell, it can't take in anymore. It doesn't matter what you do to it. So when that happens, because the sugar keeps coming down this cascade, it then spills out of the cells and into the blood. This is a blood vessel, if you didn't catch that. That's a blood vessel. So when that happens, that's when we see a rise in blood sugar. When you prick your finger, you go to the doctor, your A1C starts to go up. So, oh, there's a problem there. And you start to see the blood sugar go up. And when that happens, that's when the sugar gets sent out and keeps going through the system and gets to the fat. Your body makes and builds fat cells from extra sugar in our diet, not necessarily from the fat that you eat. The fat we wear is not the fat that we eat. it's processed through the sugar and the hormonal reaction that comes from it. Very important here. And so that's what puts the body fat onto our body. And if those levels keep going high enough, that sugar eventually gets kicked out in the urine. That's what makes the sweet taste of the urine. That's how they discovered diabetes thousands of years ago. Don't ask how they did that, but they did. I'm just kidding. The way they found out is they found out when people urinated on the ground, ants would go to a diabetic's urine because of the sugar, and they wouldn't go to someone else who didn't have diabetes. So that's the process. You eat it. It goes through the intestines, hits your liver. Liver fills its pockets first, and if it keeps coming in, it goes to the muscles. Muscles use what it needs, and then it stores in its pockets what it can use for later, and if it keeps coming in, then it goes to the cell. The cells use what they need, and when they're full, it goes into the blood. The blood sugar starts to rise, right? And then it gets stuffed in fat. You got to do something with this sugar, and we don't want it to come out in the urine. That means the kidneys are getting overwhelmed, and you got diabetes. So we start putting it in body fat. That's how it works. And during this process, because so much is coming through, the first stop is always the liver. She's working really hard. We call her the soccer mom. She's doing stuff for everybody, usually at the expense of herself. And so what happens to her is this keeps coming in, the sugars keep coming in. It's like that old I Love Lucy skit. If you watch that, black and white, if you don't know who I Love Lucy is, save the comments. I don't want to hear any age remarks now. In that skit, she's working at the chocolate factory, and there's an assembly line sending chocolate to her, and she's supposed to put them in the boxes. Somehow the assembly line starts going faster and faster. She hit the wrong switch or something, and so all this chocolate's coming. She can't get them in the boxes. She starts to panic. She grabs them. She stuffs them in her bra, in her bag, her pockets, in her shirt. She puts them under her hat. She stuffs them in her mouth. She's trying to not let that flood onto the floor. Your liver does the same thing. This is Lucy right here. Lucy is putting this sugar, holding it back from your bloodstream so you don't die or go into a coma or have a major problem, and keeping that blood sugar as stable as it possibly can. So it ends up putting a lot of that blood sugar in itself as a form of liver fat. You've heard of non-alcoholic fatty liver? That's where it comes from. It starts to blow up like a water balloon, taking on more and more water. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That drives the function of the liver down. Now look, what does this have to do with burning off fat when you're doing the right things? If this is what's going on, and you have extra body fat on your body, and you try your normal things and you don't lose that weight, it means this is happening. It's called insulin resistance and fatty liver. It's going on whether you can see it, feel it, or whatever. It's happening. So when you start to change it, when you start to do everything right, it has to go backwards through the whole process. What does that mean? It means first, this liver has to get rid of that fat. Because it's like when you go on an airplane and you're sitting next to a child, they say, if those air masks come down, put yours on first, then help somebody else. Because if you don't, you struggle with it, you're both dead, right? Liver has to take care of herself first. The liver is going to be the one to process this body fat off of our body. So the liver's not even going to let that come here if she can't handle what she's got already. So it's got to work on that first, and here's how you do it. First, like we talked about in the other videos, you change what you eat. Okay? Right here, you change what you eat. You change what's coming in, and instantly the blood sugar levels will start to go down. If you're pre-diabetic, metabolic, or have type 2 diabetes, does that mean you're no longer in that state? No, but it does mean your blood sugar is coming down by changing what you eat, by just not putting so much in there, right? And we talked about that in the other video. Then the next step is, that's a step in the right direction. The urine stops spilling the sugar. You stop that automatic withdrawal into your body fat, right? We talked about that. Then the next thing you do is you change when you eat. Stop snacking. Go to 3 meals a day. Skip one every now and then. You change when you eat, and the process starts to reverse. Now the cells aren't overwhelmed and they're not spilling it into the blood. Follow me? Okay? Then you change, or as you're doing this, you change how you move. Exercise. Not to burn calories, because that doesn't matter. It's for the hormonal response to build more glycogen, get more energy or ATP from the mitochondria in these muscles and get more effective. And when that happens, it can handle more, has bigger pockets and a bigger engine, and it doesn't spill out to the cell. So we're going one step at a time backwards. And then the last step right here is from fasting. Now look, it doesn't have to be, I'm not talking starvation, it's just fasting. It can be intermittent fasting, it can be fat fasting, it can be broth fasting, it can be water fasting, it can be pseudo fasting, it could be modified fasting, it could be block fasting, it could be intermittent fasting. There's a lot of different kinds. We call it we do fasting rotation programs, so don't get overwhelmed, we'll go into that later. But when you do that, that would enables the liver to take a break. We're sending that soccer mom on a short vacation so she can relax. We're giving her a Mai Tai, waving a fan on her on the beach, and she can relax, and she starts burning the fat that's in her already. And then when that comes all the way down, then she can worry about everybody else. Then she can get this body fat off your body. This body fat we don't like to look at, my friends, it's not dangerous. This might be unsightly in our culture, but it's not dangerous. This liver fat, this organ fat, not visceral fat, another topic, organ fat, this is the fat that will kill you. And it doesn't kill you quickly. It kills you slowly, and it makes your life miserable, and your quality of life goes down, and you basically rot from the inside out. Sound appealing to anyone out there? I hope not. If it does, get off this, because this is the wrong place for you. So we have to get rid of that first before the liver can then process your body fat. I had a client, a patient, who was working with me one-on-one, and she was diagnosed by an MRI with her liver being 2.5 times normal. I said, man, you're in the wrong place. This is beyond my scope. I can't. This is a medical emergency. She's like, look, I've been down that road. I don't want to do that. It's either this way or no way. I said, all right, it's your choice. We started working. She started working. She did everything right. 100%, followed the diet, was doing the exercise, worked in the rotational fasting concepts, did the stress management, took the supplements, did everything. And a month later, nothing. 2 months later, nothing. Do I stick with it? Yeah, you stick with it. 3, 4, 5.5 months. Boom, something switched, and she started losing massive amounts of weight. At the 9-month point, we took another MRI, and guess what we saw? That liver was back to normal. So she was doing everything right, but she was thinking the diet or lifestyle's not working. It was working, and it is working for you too. It's just not working on what you want to see. It's working on what you need to have work done. This has to come out. This is life or death. This is cosmetic. This is summertime, right? So if you are truly doing the right stuff and it's taking a long time, just know your body is smart and it's doing something. It is working, and it's working on what's most important to keep you alive, first and foremost. And when that is better, when that is healed, when that liver fat has come down and your metabolism's gone back up and your hormones are in your favor finally, then it can work on that body fat, and it will take it off, and it can take it off fast. We've had people lose 65 pounds in the span of 16 weeks. Did you hear that? 65 pounds, 16 weeks. That's an ambitious goal for 2 years. Never mind, 4 months. 16 weeks. That was 31% of that woman's body weight gone in 16 weeks. Healthy, no problem, continued on, all her blood markers, everything changed. It can be done, but you can't rush it. If you try to do a cleanse or a liver promotion or speed up your metabolism from outside sources, it doesn't work. Your body knows how to do this. We just have to get out of its way. All right? There's a lot of ways to do that, and that's what we're talking about. So this is the process that makes us put on the fat and cause a metabolic dysfunction that's driving chronic disease. And by the way, this liver, fatty liver, and metabolic dysfunction, as in metabolic syndrome, it affects more people with normal weight than it does obese people. There are more people with normal weight with metabolic syndrome than there are obese people with metabolic syndrome. Take that in for a little bit. So it's not always how you look or if you feel. It can be going on. So you need to know how to measure it, how to test it, and what to do about it. And this is how we do it. We change what you eat, we change when you eat, we change how you move, and then we get you to do a little bit of fasting. All right, that's it. Rotational meal timing, whatever you want to call it, that's what we do. And this process will start to go backwards, and you will see your health, your life, your vitality come back again. All right, hope that helped. Look, if you liked it, join my tribe. I want you to be in my tribe. YourWellnessTribe.com. That's my website. There's nothing to buy there. It's educational. I'm going to put all these videos up on there. I have my blogs on there. You can join our newsletter. You can opt in for the information we have there. Please do that. And if you learned anything in this video and you got something out of it, you found some value, share it with somebody. Because there's people that are literally dying because they don't know this process. Or they're actually driving it and making it worse when they're following the orders of the government or their doctor or someone else unknowingly. And so I'm not saying the doctor's doing it on purpose. They don't even know. We are going into some advanced stuff here. So share it with them. Share it out there. Get it out there. It's free. I'd be happy to answer questions. Shoot them over. Thank you all for being here. And keep an eye out. We'll see you in the next video.